Thank you, everyone, for joining our webinar, 5 Reasons to Earn a Master's in Counseling with the famous counseling student, Jose Gbaba.
Thanks, Julie. Appreciate it.
So I'm Julie. Yeah, I'm an admissions counselor here at Divine Mercy University specifically for the counseling programs. Jose came into the program. How long ago has it been now?
Came in May of last year.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, Jose?
Sure. Thank you, Julie. So my name is Jose Gbaba. I'm in the Masters of Counseling program over at DMU. I'm one of 5. I'm the youngest child. I guess some interesting things about myself. I studied philosophy and just liberal arts. Previously, I was a seminarian, and I've been just in the DMV area for the last several years. Been working in many different capacities, working with girls with suicidal ideation, worked in youth ministry, and now I'm working as a teacher as I prepare myself to enter the counseling profession, and just have an interest in young people and working with families as well in couples, and just kind of have that desire to want to learn as much as I can from the Catholic meta model that DMU provides, and kind of just want to give myself into that role as being in a helping professional, helping marriages, helping families, helping young people, and helping the elderly. So that's kind of where my passion lies.
Great, thank you. And could you tell us, just before we get going, what is one thing about the counseling program or DMU that I forgot to tell you or didn't mention that surprised you as a student that you've been really glad to discover? Not to put you on the spot, but can you think of something?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I guess coming into the program, I thought I kind of like a lot of classmates too, I think. I thought that counseling was more like advice giving as opposed to just listening to people and accompanying them in their lives. It was something that you would think that you would know entering the program, but it wasn't something that really dawned on me. It was in my previous experiences, like people would come to me and I would be like, okay, let's problem solve this. But a lot of counseling is just listening and accompanying people where they are at, and kind of helping them to look to see how the past has informed where they are and where do they want to go from that. So there's a lot of just walking alongside people, knowing that you're not the solution, you're not there to change their lives, but you're there to help them have agency over their own lives and to be able to grow as a person to the fullness of their human potential.
Great, thank you. That's good. I do hear a lot of prospective students saying, well, when I'm a counselor and I'm giving advice and I just let that go.
No,
someone else will tell them.
It's a good thing to know, though, that I'm not their savior and that I don't have to try to put myself in there, because I wouldn't be able to do anything for them in that regard.
Yeah, we do happen to have a Lord and Savior, and his name is not Jose Gbaba.
That is true. I'm grateful for that. So.
All right, great. So, good. Thank you. All right, so let's get going with this. So I'm going to just share this information with you all. I think, Jose, we can hide our cameras while we're doing the slideshow, and then we can come back with cameras at the end. All right.
Definitely.
All right. So as we get going through this, I'm going to share a lot of information. If you have questions, I would love to answer them. Or if you have questions for Jose, he will answer too. We'll stick around at the end of the webinar for a couple minutes. So if you have questions, just feel free to pop them into the chat or into the Q&A box, and we'll address them at the end. Doing it this way allows people who are on limited time to drop off and just watch the questions when the recording is sent to them by email, or to get on with their day if they're at work or whatever. So anyway, again, if you have questions, just pop them into the chat or to the Q&A, and we will get to them at the end. So we are Divine Mercy University. We are a graduate school of psychology and counseling. We were founded in the late 90s under the name Institute for the Psychological Sciences. You might have heard of that college or seen it as you're poking around our website. That college still exists. It houses our psychology side. We have a master's in general psychology that we offer. that is, a strictly online program and a non-clinical degree for people who are interested in things like, administration, human resources, helping professions, but not necessarily clinical skills that are required. So we also have an on-site doctoral program. So we have an actual campus with classrooms and a library and a student center and a chapel here in Virginia. Everything you would expect a school to have, pretty much. But only our PsyD students are on site and on campus almost year round. But what they found through offering those programs was that there's such a need for counselors, and particularly for counselors of faith. So we decided to go ahead and add the second college that we're discussing, the School of Counseling and the Masters in Clinical Mental Health Counseling. So when a school has more than one college, that's the point at which they take a university name. So that's how we went from being plain old IPS to Divine Mercy University. We seek to provide our students an effective academic and educational environment to support the integration of the human sciences and a Catholic Christian understanding of the person. So our school is accredited. We are institutionally accredited by SACS, or the Southern Association. This is the baseline you should look for in any US school you attend. So the way accreditation in the US works is each area of the country has its own accrediting agency. Each one has a different name. Ours is called the Southern Association. So this is regional accreditation, just the baseline, as I said, in any US school you attend. So if you're looking at other schools and they can't give you a simple yes to this institutional accreditation question, that is your sign to go very quickly in the opposite direction. So if they don't have at least institutional accreditation, don't do it. All right. When you start talking about psychology and counseling, there are a couple of extra accreditations that can be earned. APA is kind of the big dog of all of those. You can see that down here in the center. Most people have heard of APA, American Psychological Association. So DMU is an accredited APA school. In fact, we became only the second school in the whole history of the APA to receive the full 7-year accreditation grant on the first try. We just got an extension of that grant, so it actually is working out to be a 9-year grant before we have to reaccredit with APA. When you start talking about counseling, the extra accreditation for that type of program is known by the acronym CACREP, C-A-C-R-E-P. So that stands for Council for Accreditation of Counseling and Related Educational Programs. If you haven't heard of CACREP yet, that's okay. Just mention to someone you want to be a counselor and you're bound to hear about it. So CACREP is a great thing to have. We're committed to earning it for our students. We're actually just about to wrap up the process. We've submitted everything we need to submit. We've answered their follow-up questions. And now we are just hoping that they will schedule our on-site reviews sometime this fall. Hopefully, God willing, award accreditation, and then we can bring, all of the states that require CACREP under our umbrella. So right now, our degree is fine in 39 states. Once we wrap up this accreditation, the 9 states that do require it will come under our umbrella, as I mentioned, and our degree will be fine in 49 states. The one holdout is going to be Illinois, and that's because you have to go to school in state to be licensed in Illinois. So if you don't have any plans to move to Illinois anytime soon, you're in the right place. We'll keep going. So again, that's a quick primer on accreditation in the US and at DMU. If you have questions, again, please pop them into the chat or into the Q&A. All right. So what makes us different? So at Divine Mercy University, our program is informed and infused by our Catholic Christian meta model of the person. This is very important reading. I encourage you to poke around our website, search Catholic Christian Meta Model, and to find, what's there to read. So through this model, our teachers and professors will teach you to frame a treatment plan based on the Catholic understanding of the person, that we are integrated beings, body, mind, and soul. And so when you inevitably encounter somebody who doesn't believe in God, who doesn't want to talk about God, that's okay. We understand that the objective truth of who we are and how we were created does not hinge on someone's belief or unbelief. So you can help someone reach flourishing, even if they never want to talk about God. The other thing the model does is it teaches such a nuanced understanding of the person that it would take a non-DMU trained therapist really a lifetime of trial and error to kind of figure out on their own if they ever fully do. So you will graduate with a leg up, even on seasoned counselors. And, you know, in my travels for the university, I have spoken with internship site directors regularly who tell us that our students are, you know, far better prepared than their peers who are supposedly at the same place in their education. Obviously, you know, a lot of that has to do with the model. So Jose, would you talk with us a little bit about the model and how it's infused into your classes and what you've, you know, come to understand through this training?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you, Julie. So yeah, with just the model, the meta model kind of looks at things from the Catholic worldview. It kind of looks at things from knowing that we are created in the image and likeness of God and that we are loved. And I think this is something that's really infused in the various classes. For example, when I looked at just like human development over the lifetime, looking at the various phases of human life and seeing that there's dignity in each and every phase of our life, saying that the person, regardless of their faith, regardless of everything else, they call to human flourishing. And this is something that the meta model really emphasizes, human flourishing. Before, you know, just as a Catholic, you would think like, well, we call to sanctity, we call to be holy. But it's really reinforced that we are called to human flourishing, and human flourishing by living a truly authentic human life and flourishing in all aspects of our lives, whether in the intellectual aspect or the psychological aspect, or just like in relationships. We call then from that human flourishing to enter into sanctity, to enter into holiness, and that our spiritual aspect is informed by our human aspect, to remember that we aren't angels, but that we are both body and soul entity. And so I think this is just like a key component of the meta model, that it teaches us to like, that to be a saint, you need to be authentically human. And that we see that emphasized in our Lord's life, who became man for our salvation and who lived an authentic human existence, teaching us how to be truly human.
Great.
And
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just said like just in the various classes too, it's really emphasized just knowing things from a philosophical perspective of where thoughts might go wrong in different ideologies, and then kind of reinforming that from the various philosophies with kind of the truths that we know from divine revelation, or just that we know from scripture and tradition as well. So just kind of getting that perspective of what it truly means to be human.
Great. Thank you, Jose. Again, any questions about this, just pop them into the chat. Jose or I will be happy to answer them at the end. All right. So here we go. First reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, licensing as a mental health professional. So every state in the country requires a license to work as a mental health professional. As you move through your studies, our professors will give you assignments that relate to licensure, just to make sure that you understand the process and that you're headed in the right direction. So licensing happens after you graduate. Typically, it includes a national exam, sometimes a state exam, although that varies by state. So you just have to check out what your state requires. If you have not found it yet, counseling.org is a good resource. They have a nice state-by-state knowledge center there, so you can just go to that knowledge center, click on your state. It'll tell you which exams you have to take, how long you have to work under supervision. There's also contact information for your state licensing board. Right, so once you sit for your exams and pass them, you are then provisionally licensed. So just like a doctor does a residency after medical school, it's similar for counselors in that while you'll be working and being paid as a therapist, you'll just have that safety net of somebody to, you know, discuss your cases with, to talk things over with, work through problems, you know, and just a shoulder to lean on as you work through your first couple of years of being a therapist. Usually it takes about 2 years to wrap up that supervised period. Again, that does vary by state. So please check counseling.org to see what those requirements are. Lastly, I'll say that at this moment, 100% of our graduates who sit for the licensing exam pass it. So we are invested in our students. The professors will work with you to make sure that you're prepared and that you're in a place where you can pass this exam. Jose, you want to share any insights on licensing or what you've learned so far?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks, Julie. Yeah, just with licensing, something to just remember that each state has a different requirement. So if you're moving from one state to another, just to be sure to look over that. And all the courses that you take, they all have something in it for you to learn that will be on the licensing. And just to make sure that you absorb the information you need, not just for the licensure itself, but also like to be the best practitioner you can be. And it's really something exciting in a sense, also daunting, like thinking like, wow, this is a lot of information to absorb. Like when I talk to various professors, they tell me that, yeah, it's always learning. You are always learning. So just to kind of be at peace about that at the same time, but something just to prepare yourself for as well by taking the opportunity that DMU affords of all the classes, of the readings, and even just talking to professors and get yourself ready for that.
Great, thank you. All right. So, second reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, our counseling program is very unique in that, counseling is a helping and a people profession. So there are just certain aspects that don't lend themselves to online learning. So that's why we have established residency, practicum, and internship, just to make sure that you get the skills you need in the best way we can teach them to you. So as you move through your online studies, you will come to campus 3 times total for what we call residency. And they use that time together here on campus in Virginia over a long weekend to teach the counseling skills that don't lend themselves to online learning. So things like nonverbal communication, situational ethics, there are always a ton of presentations going on by faculty, students, and student groups. It's also a big gateway weekend. So all the professors are there with you, and they're looking to make sure that each student has gained the skills needed to be ready to move on to the next section. So the first one is always 8 weeks after you begin. So right now we're enrolling for the January 23 cohort. Students who start school in January will come to campus for the first time early in March. The second one's always a year later, so you'd come back the following March. And then the third one is 6 months to a year after the second one, depending on if you're full-time or part-time. They are 4 days long, so you would arrive on a Wednesday evening and stay through a Sunday afternoon. While you're here, they'll expect you to be on site and attend the whole program. There is a fee for this training that's built into your tuition. The breakdown is $1,500 per residency. That fee covers your training, obviously, but also your hotel and most of your meals while you're here. So, Jose, do you love residency or what? I know I do.
Yeah, residency is incredible. I just had my second one last month, and it was an incredible experience. Just seeing the growth that I've gone through, my classmates and I have gone through over the past year. And we conducted a 45-minute counseling session with each other, where one person kind of acted as observer, and then one of us counseled the other, and then the other one counseled the other. But we flipped where we all filled each role of observer, as client, and as therapist. And it was really incredible just to see the growth and learning from our professors. Being online at times, you can feel like, well, I kind of miss like a classroom setting. But residency really affords that opportunity, and just the bonding that happens as well with your cohort. It was really great. Just seeing all my classmates who I've met for the first time last year and who I've been communicating with online, just to be together again, having a time to be together, to learn from each other, and just getting to accompany one another. It's a really incredible experience. My first residency was a little nerve-wracking because like we all were in it for the first time and weren't so sure. But this time we're more at ease and a lot more peaceful, a lot less stressful, and just like bonding. The bonding was incredible, and just the learning. It was just incredible seeing our professors showcase and demonstrate for us the various helping techniques, the various helping skills. So it's something to look forward to.
Great, thank you. So once you've finished your third residency and the bulk of your online classes, you'll then step into practicum and internship. And these are done in your own area based on the kind of counseling work you'd like to do. So, whether that's marriage and family, addictions, trauma, whatever it is, you can choose accordingly and kind of specialize in your internship. So of the two, practicum comes first. Practicum is 100 hours of on-the-job training. So this is what gets you ready for the real hands-on counseling work of your internship. At least 40 of those 100 hours will be direct service with actual counseling clients. Once you finish that 100 hours of training, you'll then step into your 2 internships, each of which is 300 hours and spans 16 weeks. So we do have a director of internship who will work with you to help you identify, where it is you'd like to work. Our internship placement is 100%. So you will get one and we will help you with it. So Jose, have you begun to think about this or work on this at all yet?
I have actually, yeah. I'm just kind of looking at various places that's nearby me. I'm trying to figure out where would be a good site, who I would like to be my supervisor. Just kind of looking forward to it. And then in about a week or two, I think it is, I'll be meeting just with my cohort and our professor who's going to kind of start advising us on various sites that would be acceptable for our internship.
That's very exciting. So
It is.
Yeah, good. All right. So third reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling is our terrific faculty. All of our core faculty are practicing and experienced clinicians. So they do understand what you need to learn to live out as a vocation as counselor. So Dr. Vivleka on the left there, she just stepped into a role as the program director for the School of Counseling. So she's the boss, the dean. And so she makes decisions, with us about admission and things like that. Next to her is Dr. Keys. He is a professor here at DMU who is actually one of the few on-site professors. So he's here year-round in Virginia, and he runs our Center for Trauma and Resiliency Studies. So you'll receive trauma training from him. And in addition to the trauma training that's built into the program, you'll have an opportunity to work with him for the Center for Trauma and Resiliency Studies, if that's something that appeals to you. He's also our director of internship and training for the Eastern states. So everyone east of the Mississippi will answer to Dr. Keys for their internship. And then we also have Dr. Sharp, who is director of training and internship for the Western states. So everyone west of the Mississippi will work with Dr. Sharp. And then Dr. D. Liaco and Dr. Humes are a couple of our associate and assistant professors. Dr. D. Liaco actually works and resides in Philippines. So he is here occasionally, when necessary, but mostly he's an international. And Dr. Humes is in the northern central part of the US, I believe, if I remember correctly. She's told me a couple times and I can't remember. But anyway, I think that's where she is. So these are all great professors. It's about maybe a quarter of the professors we have on our faculty. Anything you want to say about faculty, Jose?
Yeah, the faculty is really great. They're very helpful and just incredible professionals. It's just been great just watching them. They dare to help you succeed. They desire to see you succeed. And it's just been great learning from them, especially at the residency, seeing the level of competence that they have in what they're doing, and just saying like, wow, this is what counseling really is. So that's been great. And then just also in the class, the wealth of information that they give to you is just spectacular. So it's just been great gleaning from their wisdom, being able to talk with them. They're very accommodating as well, knowing the intricacies of people's whether you're working or whether you're in school full-time or whether a mixture of both, they're just very accommodating and they really desire to see you succeed. So it's just been great getting to know the professors and to see them as mentors who are there to accompany you.
Great, thanks, Jose.
You're welcome, Julie.
All right, so fourth reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, JOB, of course, everyone wants to know, what job can I get?
Exactly.
And yeah, and also, how much am I going to make? So those are two very important questions. This is a very versatile degree. Most people who study master's in counseling do it because their end goal is to become a clinician, a therapist who helps people reach flourishing through talk therapy. But you can do a lot of things with it in addition to that. For a time, the dean of students at DMU was someone who had a master's in counseling. And then in the county where I live, the lead social worker, the director of the social services division, is a woman who has a master's in counseling. So she's, in charge of all the social workers in my county. So how much you're going to earn is, I really don't know. Your search engine is your friend. I can say that if you would like to work in a homeless shelter, you're going to earn a homeless shelter salary. If you are in a reasonably metropolitan area and you want to hang out your shingle and go into private practice, you're going to get up into the six figures pretty quickly. So there's a wide range of salaries. Like I said, use your favorite search engine, see what the median is in your area for people who do the kind of thing you think you might like to do. All right. So fifth reason to earn a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Well, the program's incredibly flexible. You can learn anywhere, anytime. The work is available 24/7. So as long as you have your computer and the internet, you can be anywhere in the world you want to be and still do your schoolwork. As you move through your studies, your professors will arrange for real-time meetings to do things like question and answer, discussion group review, that kind of thing. So although you'll be, although meant there is, you will be working very closely with your professors. You'll also work very closely with the other students in your cohort, obviously to build your counseling skills, but also to build the professional friendships and relationships that you'll need once you become a mental health professional. So Jose, how have you liked the asynchronous portions, and can you tell us a little bit about the meetings with your professors, the ones you do weekly?
Sure, yeah, definitely. Thank you, Julie. Yeah, so it's been really great because a lot of my schooling, I've been going to school full-time and working full-time. So it's been great just with the asynchronous part in that I'm able to do work at my own time, at my own leisure. But then it's also great. It's great in that respect because I'm answering discussion posts or just like viewing materials that the professors might send on Canvas. And then also with the synchronistic part has been really great. I've really enjoyed that a lot, especially this past semester where we were having classes weekly and then also a group project as well every other week, or for one class and then a group project weekly as well for another class. So it was really great in that it felt like a normal classroom environment. And I see just the benefit to both, and where you can work at your own leisure if you need to, but then also being able to be in a classroom setting with your classmates and getting input from your professors. Just earlier today, we had a synchronistic class meeting for one of my classes, and it was kind of great because the readings, they were long, and it was just kind of good to be able to unpack that and get his perspective on that and ask the questions that were necessary to ask to kind of figure out, okay, am I getting these readings right? Am I actually on track? and being able to unpack that and for him to actually really explain to us the material. So that was really beneficial, and I really do enjoy both forms of learning. And I think the two do complement each other. And I think DMU does a good balance of using the two.
Great, thank you. So just a note that you can enroll at DMU full-time, and that's a 36 to 40-hour a week commitment. As Jose mentioned, there is a lot of reading. And then part-time commitment is half that. So it's 18 to 20 hours a week, and that's for everything. Watching your lectures, doing your reading, doing your assignments. If you enroll full-time, you finish the degree in 2 years, 8 months. If you enroll part-time, it takes 4.5 years to complete the degree. So our entrance requirements are a bachelor's degree. We also require a GPA of 3.0 overall, or in your major, or in your last 60 credits. Now, if you're worried that your GPA isn't quite up to that mark, that's okay. That's not necessarily a deal breaker, and you and I can discuss it. Feel free to contact me, and we can, work through how to go about getting a waiver for that requirement. Your bachelor's degree can be in any field. This is an entry-level program. So if your degree is in synchronized swimming or advanced basket weaving, it's great. We don't, we can work with that, no problem. We also require the GRE. The GRE is a standardized entrance exam for graduate school, kind of like what you did with the SAT for your undergraduate degree, or ACT for West Coast people. If you are an international student and your transcript is not in English, or it's not on a 4.0 scale as it is in the US, then your transcript would need to be evaluated for equivalency in the US. And again, you can contact me for details on how to go about that. If your native language is something other than English, then we also require the TOEFL, and you can see the score requirements there. We'll need official transcripts for any degrees earned. I don't need to see your million billion transfer credit transcripts, just transcripts for degrees conferred. If you have a master's degree or higher, we can also waive the GRE, only if you have a master's or higher. So once all of that paperwork has been submitted and your scholarship and financial aid work is done, we can set you up for interviews and hopefully admission. So here's where it gets real. The cost per credit is $898 currently. It's a 66 credit master's degree, so $898 times 66 is $59,268. There is a $50 technology fee per class for a total of $1,100. Lab fees for your whole time in school are $375. And then the residency fee we talked about that covers your hotel and meals while you're on campus for training, that's $1,500 per residency for a total of $4,500. Usually there is a $55 application fee, but we are waiving that today as a thank you for attending this webinar. So if you subtract that fee, that gives you a total of $65,243 for the whole program, start to finish. So there are a number of ways to make graduate school affordable. We do participate fully with the federal loan program. So if you felt like you wanted or needed a student loan, we could certainly help you with that. Some employers do offer tuition reimbursement. So if you're working and you have a job, I would say definitely ask. It's worth investigating to see if this might be a benefit for you. We're also approved for the VA, the GI Bill. We're also a yellow ribbon school. So if you have any of those benefits, or if they can be applied to you, we participate with all of those. DMU has a very nice scholarship program available. At DMU, everyone who will take the trouble to apply for one will receive a scholarship. The way scholarships work is you can apply for 4 and you can accept 2. Right now, we're giving away a bonus 3rd scholarship, an extra $2,000 just for getting your paperwork started early. Some people use private funds. We also have a matching scholarship available. So for any nonprofit support you can find from outside the university, we would match that up to $2,000. So, check with your parish, talk to the Knights of Columbus, any agencies or fraternal or religious type organizations you might be affiliated with. We would match those funds, that support, up to $2,000. There's also an interesting federal program called National Health Service Corps. If you have not heard of this, just put that name into your favorite search engine. It'll come up first link, I promise. So this is a tuition forgiveness program. And the way it works is if you're willing to work for 2 years in an area designated either low income or underserved, and this is post-graduation, they will give you a lump sum of up to $50,000 towards your tuition cost in exchange for that. So the way it works is you would apply for a job from the NHSC list. You would, negotiate your salary and land that job like you would any other job. But because you're working under this program, after you've served 3 months of your 2-year agreed upon time period, they'll give you a lump sum of up to $50,000 towards your student loan debt or other costs in exchange for that. So this is a great way to go if you can work it out, especially since you have to work under supervision for 2 years. It's kind of a no-brainer. I know a number of students who've taken advantage of it, so I encourage you to look into this program and see what might be available in your area. So DMU has many partners, a lot of dioceses, a lot of mission, partners, schools, other entities. This is just a smattering of the people or the entities we partner with. So you can find I believe a little bit more full list on our website. So if you have an affiliation with any of these listed or any on our website, then we do have some special scholarships with some of these. If your parish isn't listed, then if you can get a letter stating that you're a parishioner in good standing, then we would give an automatic 15% scholarship if your diocese or parish isn't already partnering with us. All right. So again, our acceptance requirements are the bachelor's degree, the GPA of 3.0 overall, or in your major, or in your last 60 credits. We require the GRE for those who have less than a master's or above. And then, once your application process is done, there is an interview aspect to the admissions process. There are 2 online video interviews to be done. The first one's easy. It's a quick 30 minutes with me. Mostly it's a coaching session to get you ready for the big interview, which is a 3-hour online group interview with 2 or 3 other applicants to the program and 2 faculty members. I know it sounds a little intimidating, but most people really have fun with it. It gets them excited for the program, and they enjoy it in the end. So Jose, do you remember your interview?
I do, yes. It was actually pretty good. I was interviewed by, I think it was 2 professors, and it was really great. One of my guys in my cohort and I actually were still pretty much in touch, and it was good because I got a letter of recommendation from one of my professors back in seminary, and just kind of going through that whole process and made me really examine reasons for why I wanted to go to DMU, and it really solidified it. I went in there a little bit nervous, but it was all good. They were pretty much at ease, and it was just really good being able to meet the professors and see what DMU was really about.
Great. And of course, you were prepared because I told you exactly what to expect, right?
Yes, right? Yes, yeah, it was great. It was really great in every way. So I appreciate that.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So, is this the right path for you? I ask you to carefully consider these questions. If you can answer yes to all of them, then probably it's a good sign that you are on the right track here. So just ask yourself, seriously, do you have the desire to help heal the whole person and to help people flourish? Do you want to have a career that enables you to answer the question, how can I help people? Thirdly, what can you do to make a positive contribution in others' lives? Can you be an instrument of healing? And finally, please ask yourself honestly, If you were to apply and be admitted, is this something you'd be committed to finishing? Are you someone who finishes what you begin? Again, if you're a yes to all of these questions, I think you'd be most likely a strong applicant, and we would encourage you to begin the application process. The first step is very easy. It's just an online demographic form. It takes 20 or 30 minutes. You can do it today if you want to. Once we have that first part of the application, our financial aid experts will be in touch to begin discussing tuition, scholarships, and what you can reasonably expect from us given your particular situation. We will ask you to send in essays, resume, transcripts, a recommendation, and of course your GRE. Once we have those, we will set up your interview and hopefully admission. Classes begin January 11th, 2023. Our cohort is already about 30% capacity because we had such a huge demand for our fall cohort that some people ended up having to wait. So to avoid that situation for yourself, I'd encourage you to begin your application as soon as possible so you can get an early interview spot and get started on your onboarding tasks if admitted. All right, well, that concludes the information we have to share with you today. Thank you so much for joining our webinar. We're going to answer questions now. So if you have a question that I didn't answer or that Jose didn't address during the webinar, please feel free to pop it into the chat or into the Q&A. We'll be happy to address it. If you have to contact me directly, I'd love to hear from you. You can call me or text me at that number there. Email is also a great way to get me. And as thank you for attending this webinar, we'd like to give you a waiver of the application fee using this code CCMMP 1999. A recording of this webinar, including the waiver information, will be sent to you by email if you don't have time to jot it down. So Jose, if you have a couple minutes, we'll just address some questions.
Sure.
So Alania wants to know, how will I know where I can practice after earning my master's in clinical counseling?
That's a great question. So I think we're talking about just the 49 states once we get KCREP, God willing. But I guess you can just check with Julie as well and see what state you're in. Mm-hmm. And you can just check with various facilities as well. So as a clinical, getting a master's in clinical counseling, you should be able to practice in anything that would need a therapist. I think there's a little difference like in being a school counselor, which is a little bit different, but in anything that's clinically based, you should be able to practice in that, especially after you get your licensure.
Yeah, thanks. So if Alania, if you were asking about KCREP, so we don't admit students from the KCREP states right now. That's the 9 states that require KCREP. So you can find that information on our website. I'm not going to recite them here. It's too long a list. So, and then you can choose your own internship with guidance from your internship director. So it has to meet the requirements for the program. Like I said, our internship placement is 100%. You will get one, we'll help you with it, and you can choose, what your focus will be. Anything to add to that, Jose?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the process of meeting with my advisor and my internship director as well. So I think it's something very exciting. As you get along further in the program, you kind of start figuring, okay, where does my passion lie? And what type of counseling do you really want to focus on? So, I mean, that's something to keep in mind after entering the program and during your time in the program, seeing where does that passion lie? What do you want to do? And then looking for a spot where you are able to learn the most, and also a spot where you would be able to really thrive in, and just talking to the internship director for that.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Jose.
Thank you so much, Julie.
I appreciate it. Wait, oh, looks like we have one last question here. So the question is, does DMU's MS Counseling have a clinical consultation course, skill-based course in which one is working on therapeutic skills each semester? Or are there only 1 or 2 courses in DMU's counseling program? Claire, you can find all of this on the course descriptions on the counseling pages of our website. And I think that should give you that information there. All right. Well, thank you again, Jose. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining us for this webinar. And thanks to everyone who attended. Again, if you have questions, I'd love to hear from you. Please text me, email me. You can call me. It can be hard to get me on the phone, but if I can't answer immediately, I'll get back to you right away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie. And I'm
Thank you.
glad that I could be here with all of you guys.
Really
Good luck
appreciate
to
your
you
time,
all.
Jose. God bless you in your
Thank you.
studies.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Thanks. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.